Ever feel like everywhere you go, there are just too many people? Crowded highways, packed shopping malls, and lines that never seem to end? Well, you're not alone. In fact, half of all Americans are crammed into just 10 states, while the rest of the country enjoys wide open spaces. So why do so many people choose to live in these jam-packed places? Today on Globe Discoveries, we're breaking down the 10 most overcrowded states and what's really behind the population boom. Before we dive in, let's put things into perspective. The US has 50 states, yet just 10 of them hold nearly 170 million people. That's over 50% of the entire country. Now let's count them down and figure out why these states are bursting at the seams. Number 10. Michigan. Michigan, home to the Great Lakes, Motor Cities, and apparently a lot of people. With a population nearing 10 million, the state's urban centers, like Detroit and Grand Rapids, see most of the congestion. While Detroit's heyday as the automotive capital may have faded, its affordable housing and growing job market are bringing people back in droves. Despite its affordability, Michigan's infrastructure is struggling to keep up. Decades of neglect have led to crumbling roads, outdated public transit, and unreliable water systems. The state's highways are among the most pothole-ridden in the country, making commutes frustrating for residents. Traffic congestion has become a significant issue in the state's most populated areas. The Metro Detroit area ranks among the worst commutes in the country, with drivers losing an average of 54 hours per year sitting in traffic. Increased demand on limited roads continues to add pressure on daily commuters. Michigan's natural beauty is another factor drawing people in. The Great Lakes, scenic forests, and outdoor recreation opportunities make it a desirable place to live. But this has also led to overdevelopment in certain regions. Suburban sprawl is consuming green spaces at a rapid pace. While Michigan remains relatively affordable compared to coastal states, housing costs in desirable areas have steadily risen. The surge in demand for homes in Grand Rapids and Ann Arbor has driven prices up by more than 30% in the last 5 years, making it tougher for first-time buyers to enter the market. Number 9. North Carolina. The Tar Heel state has become a magnet for new residents, swelling its population to nearly 11 million. And it's not just retirees seeking sunshine. Tech workers, entrepreneurs, and students are fueling rapid urban expansion in cities like Charlotte and Raleigh. Charlotte, the largest city in the state, has seen explosive growth due to its status as a major financial and tech hub. Major companies like Bank of America and Wells Fargo have their headquarters here, creating a job market that attracts thousands of new residents every year. But this growth comes with a price. Housing shortages, soaring rent prices, and clogged highways. Charlotte alone has seen home values jump over 50% in the last 5 years, leaving many first-time buyers struggling to get a foothold in the market. As a result, more people are crowding into the outskirts, increasing sprawl and stretching city resources thin. Infrastructure in North Carolina has not kept pace with its rapid expansion. Many roads and bridges are outdated, and public transportation options remain limited, particularly outside major cities. This forces more people to rely on cars, which further contributes to congestion. Despite its challenges, North Carolina continues to attract people from across the country due to its booming economy, lower cost of living compared to places like California and New York, and desirable climate. But as the state continues to grow, balancing expansion with sustainability will remain a major challenge. Number 8. Georgia. Georgia has quickly become one of the fastest-growing states in the U.S., now home to nearly 11 million residents. The Atlanta metropolitan area is a significant driver of this population boom, thanks to its thriving economy, booming entertainment industry, and relatively low cost of living compared to major coastal cities. Atlanta, often dubbed the New York of the South, has seen an influx of young professionals and families looking for better job opportunities. However, the city's rapid expansion has led to severe traffic congestion, with drivers spending an average of 70 hours per year stuck in gridlock. The infamous I-285 loop remains one of the worst bottlenecks in the country. Housing affordability is another growing concern. While still cheaper than cities like Los Angeles or New York, Atlanta's home prices have surged over 40% in the past 5 years, pushing many middle-class families further into the suburbs. This urban sprawl has caused longer commutes and increased pressure on infrastructure. Georgia's appeal extends beyond Atlanta, with cities like Savannah and Athens experiencing population growth as well. The state's diverse job market, ranging from film production to logistics and technology, continues to attract newcomers. However, local governments are struggling to keep up with the demand for public services and adequate housing. While Georgia remains an attractive destination, its continued growth will require significant investment in transportation, affordable housing, and public services to prevent worsening congestion and overcrowding. Number 7. Ohio. Ohio, with a population nearing 12 million, has long been a key hub for manufacturing, healthcare, and education. Cities like Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati have experienced major growth due to their affordable housing and expanding job markets. The state's strong economy continues to attract newcomers, but this has also led to challenges in transportation and infrastructure. Columbus, the state capital, is one of the fastest-growing cities in the Midwest. Its tech industry, thriving university scene, and corporate presence have drawn a young workforce. However, this rapid influx has led to rising home prices and rental costs. The demand for housing has outpaced supply, making it difficult for many new residents to find affordable places to live. Ohio's highway system is heavily trafficked, especially in urban areas, leading to longer commutes and increased congestion. Cleveland and Cincinnati have also struggled with aging infrastructure, resulting in frequent repairs and travel delays. While these cities boast cultural and business opportunities, the daily grind of getting from point A to point B has become increasingly frustrating for residents. Public transportation remains underfunded and inefficient, forcing more people to rely on cars. As a result, major highways like I-71 and I-75 experience heavy congestion, particularly during rush hours. Without significant investment in transit expansion, these problems are expected to worsen as Ohio's population continues to grow. Despite these challenges, Ohio's relatively low cost of living and diverse economy continue to make it a desirable place for families and businesses. However, managing future growth effectively will require smart infrastructure planning and improved public transportation options. Number 6. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is home to nearly 13 million people, and much of that population is concentrated in just two cities, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. While both cities boast rich history, cultural landmarks, and strong economies, they also struggle with overcrowding, infrastructure issues, and a growing housing crunch. Philadelphia, in particular, is bursting at the seams, with nearly 1.6 million residents packed into a relatively small area. This dense population has led to high living costs and rising property values, pushing many residents into the suburbs. Public transit, while extensive, is overburdened, leading to delays and packed commuter trains. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, has undergone a major economic transformation, shifting from steel production to a tech and healthcare powerhouse. While this has attracted new residents, it has also led to housing shortages and increased gentrification, pricing out long-time locals. Traffic congestion is another growing problem. Pennsylvania's roadways, particularly in and around Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, rank among the most congested in the nation. The Pennsylvania Turnpike, notorious for its high tolls, remains one of the most expensive highways to drive on in the U.S. Despite these challenges, Pennsylvania's job market, educational institutions, and cultural attractions continue to make it a desirable place to live. However, without major investments in housing and transit, the state's overcrowding issues will only intensify. Number 5. Illinois. Illinois population stands at just under 13 million, but let's be real, most of that is in Chicago. The Windy City is one of the most densely populated urban centers in America, with nearly 2.7 million people packed into a metro area struggling with aging infrastructure, high taxes, and expensive living costs. Chicago remains a top economic hub, home to major industries like finance, tech, and manufacturing. However, this economic strength has not translated into affordability. The city's property taxes, congestion, and high cost of living continue to drive some residents to surrounding states like Indiana and Wisconsin, where housing is significantly cheaper. Public transportation, once a strong point for Chicago, is now facing serious strain. The CTA Chicago Transit Authority has seen declining service quality, with delays and maintenance issues plaguing commuters. Many residents rely on their cars, contributing to some of the worst traffic congestion in the country. Crime remains another concern. While crime rates have fluctuated, public perception remains a key issue affecting population trends. Many families looking for safer, More affordable living options are opting to move out of the city to its sprawling suburbs. Despite these issues, Chicago's economic and cultural significance keeps it firmly in the top 5 most overcrowded states. But if affordability and infrastructure challenges persist, Illinois may continue to experience outmigration to neighboring states. Number 4. Florida. Florida is one of the fastest-growing states in the U.S., now home to over 22 million residents. Thanks to its warm climate, lack of state income tax, and booming job market, the Sunshine State has become a hotspot for both retirees and young professionals. Cities like Miami, Orlando, and Tampa have seen a massive influx of new residents. However, this surge has pushed housing prices to record highs, with Miami, in particular, becoming one of the least affordable cities in the country. Many locals are struggling to keep up with the rising cost of living. Traffic congestion is another major headache. Florida's highways, especially I-95, I-4, and the Florida Turnpike, are constantly packed with commuters and tourists. Miami drivers alone spend an average of 105 hours per year stuck in traffic, making it one of the worst cities for congestion in the U.S. Natural disasters are another major downside to Florida's growing population. Hurricanes, flooding, and rising sea levels pose an increasing threat, leading to soaring insurance costs and housing market instability. Many homeowners in high-risk areas are seeing their insurance rates skyrocket, adding yet another financial burden. While Florida continues to be an attractive destination, its overcrowding, housing crisis, and environmental risks are starting to outweigh the benefits for many residents. The question remains, how much longer can Florida sustain its rapid growth? Number 3. New York. New York State is home to nearly 20 million people, and about 8.5 million of them are squeezed into New York City alone. That's a density of over 28,000 people per square mile, making NYC one of the most crowded urban areas in the world. While the state boasts thriving industries in finance, media, and healthcare, the sheer number of people living in such a confined space has led to rising costs, infrastructure struggles, and housing crises. Housing affordability remains one of the biggest challenges for New Yorkers. Manhattan's median rent exceeds $400 or $500 per month, making it one of the most expensive places to live in the country. Many longtime residents have been forced to move to outer boroughs or even leave the state entirely due to skyrocketing costs of living and property taxes. Public transportation is another major concern. The MTA subway system, relied upon by millions of commuters daily, is plagued by delays, overcrowding, and aging infrastructure. The city's traffic congestion is equally problematic, with drivers losing an average of 102 hours per year stuck in gridlock. Beyond NYC, cities like Buffalo, Rochester, and Albany are experiencing slower but steady growth. However, they too are dealing with declining infrastructure, high property taxes, and economic shifts as businesses continue to centralize in New York City. Number 2. Texas. Texas has experienced explosive population growth, now home to over 30 million residents. The state's business-friendly policies, affordable housing compared to coastal states, and diverse job market have drawn people from across the country. Cities like Houston, Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio are booming, but rapid expansion has led to severe congestion, strained infrastructure, and rising home prices. Traffic is a growing nightmare, particularly in Houston and Austin, where commuters face some of the worst gridlock in the nation. Highways like I-35 in Austin and I-10 in Houston see daily congestion, making travel times increasingly unbearable. With public transit options limited, residents are left with few alternatives to driving. Housing, once a major draw for Texas, is quickly becoming a challenge. Austin's home prices have surged over 40% in the past 5 years, making it harder for middle-class families to afford property. Dallas and Houston, while still more affordable than Los Angeles or New York, are also seeing rising housing costs due to demand. Another growing concern is the state's infrastructure. With Texas adding an estimated 1,000 new residents per day, resources like water supply, electricity grids, and healthcare services are struggling to keep up. The 2021 statewide power grid failure highlighted vulnerabilities in the state's energy system, raising concerns about future sustainability. Number 1. California. With nearly 40 million residents, California is by far the most overcrowded state in the U.S. The state's biggest draws, Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and its picturesque coastline, continue to attract millions, But high costs, housing shortages, and congestion have made it one of the most difficult places to live. The cost of living in California is among the highest in the country, with the median home price exceeding $800,000. Major cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego are particularly affected, where high demand and limited housing supply have created a severe affordability crisis. Many Californians are relocating to more affordable states like Texas, Nevada, and Arizona, leading to a significant population decline in recent years. Traffic congestion is another major problem. Los Angeles is infamous for its gridlock, with commuters spending an average of 95 hours per year stuck in traffic. The state's aging freeway system, combined with ever-increasing numbers of drivers, makes daily commutes frustrating and unpredictable. Beyond traffic and housing, wildfires, drought, and natural disasters have also contributed to California's challenges. Climate-related issues have driven up insurance costs, utility rates, and disaster recovery expenses, making it even more difficult for middle-class families to thrive in the state. So, do you live in one of these overcrowded states? If so, what's your experience been like? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more deep dives into the world around us. See you next time.